Claude Monet's Le Bassin au Nymphéas comes from his epoch-defining series of water lily paintings that were really amongst his most celebrated paintings, propelled the artist into the realm of abstraction and laid the ground for inspiring decades of artists to come. In this work, this extraordinary monumental 2-meter across painting, you really get a sense of the breadth, the expansion, the scale of Monet's project, which was extraordinary. The Water Lilies are the most important series of Monet's entire work, but they're also iconic within Western art, and particularly in how they laid the grounds for the abstraction to come. When you think of Monet's legacy with artists like Jackson Pollock, with artists like Rothko, and then right into today, Richter, all of these artists in a way owe that debt to what Monet did in the late teens in pushing out the natural boundaries of landscape and focusing in on the surface and on colour and on light. Monet made the subject of his garden in Giverny, and in particular the water lily pond, his life's work of his mature years. Monet was obsessed with the surface of the water itself, and he wanted it to be mirror clear so he could maximize the effect of the reflections. He was very exacting. He had a team of gardeners who had to go out in their flat-bottom boats and literally sort of almost pick off the dust to create this great effect. And this whole series of water lilies goes right through to the end of his life in the late teens and is just the pinnacle of his artistic output. In this extraordinary monumental 2-meter across painting, you can see on the right side part of the willow tree, which actually forms part of a series of paintings in its own right. And then in the central section, you've got this sort of wonderful pink abstract motifs that run down the central part of the composition, which look like the reflections of blossoms potentially on the water. And then, of course, the water lilies themselves. And it's just an explosion of colour and fabulously richly worked composition. When Monet first embarked on his compositions of Nymphéas in the early 1900s, they tended to be square format, more contained in scale. But as this series progressed, the canvases got larger and larger until he embarked on this very, very ambitious project of the Grande Décoration, which were these large-scale canvas panels, some of them up to 4 meters across, that he intended to form an all-immersive experience. And alongside that project were a series of also horizontal canvases like this work. If you think for 1917 to 19, to be working in this scale was revolutionary at the time, and it required an enormous infrastructure. He built in his studio in Giverny not just one, but several studios. So together with the nature of the pond itself and his purpose-built studio, he was able to produce this extraordinary in-depth series that is a pinnacle of his life's work, but a markedly strong pinnacle for the whole of 20th century art. So the provenance of this painting dates back to the artist's studio. After Monet's death, it passed to his son, Michel Monet. And then in later years, it was part of the collection of Ray Stark, the US legendary film producer. In 2019, it was included in the important exhibition Monet, the Late Years, at the Kimball Art Museum, and it has been on loan there since then. And now it comes to the auction for the first time for 20 years or so. So it's an incredibly exciting opportunity for collectors around the world to buy this museum caliber, iconic work by Monet.